if I can just play a long time, because I don't enjoy what the NBA as a whole is becoming.
Huge fan of you, bro. The day after we won the championship, I posted a picture of you.
All right.
A picture of you,
Man, let's meet the
Hakeem and Steve.
participants and the
my story.
2023 Ruffles
You guys
NBA All-Star
did it like that way. Did it like that way. Did it like that way.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to Latest Hoops. Today's video, we're just going to be talking about this clip that's kind of going viral right now, a new clip that just surfaced off the Old Man in the Three, JJ Redick's podcast, which if you guys do not watch, I would highly recommend tuning in whenever he posts. It's pretty much a weekly upload right around the morning. I believe it is Wednesday mornings, but I'm not sure if that's a concrete upload schedule. Regardless, we're just going to be talking about this clip and the other clip I put in there featuring Giannis, because that's immediately what it reminded me of. And we're going to be asking the question, is there a right way to win an NBA championship? We'll be going over the right way and the wrong way, and then making a verdict here at the end, ultimately deciding. I appreciate all the support I've been seeing on these videos recently. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we are very close to hitting 800 subscribers. So if you're new here and want to support the channel's growth, I'd really appreciate it if you considered hitting that subscribe button. We're trying to upload every single day for the month of March, and currently, including the last day of February, we are 15 days in a row, and after this goes up, it'll be 16 uploads in a row. Again, I really appreciate your guys' support. Without further ado, let's get straight into this video. So I haven't gotten to watch the entirety of this podcast because, like I said, it has not been released yet, but going off the 5-minute clip that was released and put out, Dame kind of spent a little bit of time talking about the camaraderie and the process and the journey it takes in order to get to a championship, and kind of hinting at the fact that nobody is out there doing that, enjoying the journey. They just believe that, or he just believes that once things get hard, people like to jump ship and join an adequate team and just kind of fill out that third or fourth all-star role. Teams like the 2004 Detroit Pistons are a great example of this, where they may have had 1 or 2 all-stars, possibly even 3. Obviously, they've accumulated 3 all-stars, with Ben Wallace and Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton, but that doesn't necessarily mean they were all all-stars at the same time. And the same thing goes for Giannis Antetokounmpo when he won with Jrue Holiday and Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton, they just missed the all-star game in that year, and the same thing goes for Jrue Holiday. He was just a second-time all-star this season. You also think of the Rockets repeat in 1994 and 1995, where it was obviously led by MVP Hakeem Olajuwon. These are all teams that are quote-unquote winning championships the right way. And also, I can't forget to shout out Dirk in the 2011 Dallas Mavericks, where his supporting cast against the Big Three Miami Heat included a old Jason Terry, a somewhat decent Tyson Chandler, and many other players. Jason Kidd was on that team as well. It's very interesting when you talk about these championships, because I guarantee you, if you were to ask Hakeem or Dirk or any of them if they would do it any different, the answer would be no. And they're for the same reasons that Damian Lillard said. They enjoyed the camaraderie of it. They enjoyed the grittiness of it. They enjoyed winning games in moments where the entire world thought they were write-offs. There's also moments where some of these players create super teams and it just does not work out. I mean, in most recent memory, you guys can all turn and look at the Brooklyn Nets with James Harden and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. The 3 of them joined forces and they played about 20 games combined. And yes, they were great in those 20 games, but the closest they ever got was being a hair away from the NBA Finals, or what would have been the NBA Finals, when Kevin Durant missed that shot. But obviously, you look back to that series, James Harden was battling hamstring injuries the entire time. Kyrie Irving missed some time in that, or pretty much the rest of the playoffs, when he landed on Giannis's foot in that series against the Bucks. You think back to the 2004 Lakers, they're coming off a three-peat, and then they add an old Karl Malone and Gary Payton, and then they can't even capitalize on a Detroit Pistons team that was seen to be the lesser opponent. But as we talked about before, they won that series. I touched on this briefly in my video talking about how super teams are not a problem in today's NBA, and kind of mentioned that it seems like when super teams come together, the NBA does its weird mystical powers of stopping them. Even right now, as we take a look at the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant just sprained his ankle in warmups, and he won't even be reevaluated for another 2 weeks. It's just not very common that you see this. And Kevin's, injury ventures have been dating back to since his time in Golden State when he ruptured his Achilles in that series against Toronto. It seems very, very rare that these things actually ever pan out. I mean, LeBron and the big three Heat claimed they were going to win 7 or 8 rings together when they got together, and obviously we know how that went. And their first finals appearance as a big three, they lost to the Dallas Mavericks with one superstar. It's just very interesting when you pit these players against each other and compare resumes and this and that. But I think Dame has a really solid point. Nobody is going to be talking about you or what you did for the game after you're long gone. Like, they're not going to be speaking about you unless it's a GOAT debate or an anniversary or something. There's just not going to be something spoken or something to be said about you, and especially not your resume. A championship isn't something like an all-star where you can look at it and be like, oh, he was a 5x all-star or a 10x all-star. That's an amazing accomplishment. When someone sees an NBA championship on your resume, there's a lot more digging deep. And it seems like most of these people, like people all the time when Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors won their championships together, people all the time say you can combine those 2 rings and they're still not worth it more than what Dirk Nowitzki's ring is, or what Hakeem Olajuwon's championships were, or what the 2004 Pistons championship was. That's one thing in NBA media that does not let it slide, and that's when we're going to get into talking about winning the wrong way. First and foremost, look at the Phoenix Suns right now. Look at the Golden State Warriors before. Look at the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016. Going back to that, look at the Miami Heat. A lot of these teams were built, quote unquote, the wrong way through various movement and free agency or through midseason trades, just yielding 2 or 3 all-star players on the same roster and just pitting them against each other. A lot of people who are watching the game today, their first memory of that is the Celtics when Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and Rajon Rondo, they were kind of this big four battling against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers for that short amount of time. And here's where I'm kind of on the fence, because I think when you do something in that manner of building it through free agency and kind of manufacturing it, it does lose some of its appeal. It does not feel as genuine when you're talking about who's a better winner and this and that. It does. It feels off. It feels wrong. But when you look at a team like the 2015 Warriors or the San Antonio Spurs, pretty much the last 25 years, there's just a really great feeling of watching something start and be born and then not work out and then work out. Like the Golden State Warriors with Dre, Clay, and Steph had to lose before they knew how to win. The San Antonio Spurs, they had to lose before they learned how to win. And that happened on multiple occasions. And it changed again when Kawhi Leonard got there. It's just interesting to see how the NBA's dynamic of teams changes throughout the time. But on that same turnover, when's really the last time you saw an NBA championship that was done the right way? Because you could say that Giannis and the Bucks just 2 years ago, they did it the right way. But that team on paper technically does have 3 All-Stars. And today, to this very day, that team has the best record in the NBA and they look unstoppable. But it seems like the only person this season who could win it, and it would be a championship won, quote unquote, the right way, would be Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. So that leads me to say, is there a right way to win championships? Yes. It's to build your team through the draft and pray for the best and see development day in and day out. However, that's just not realistic, and that's, I think, the part that Dame is missing. He did admit it, that the game is changing every day and that it's not the same league he came into years ago, but that just doesn't really exist anymore. We don't see teams that just build through the draft and become great over time, and they are a fun young core. Like, we can maybe see a little of that with the Nuggets, and we can see a little bit of that with the Kings, but even the Kings, it took them getting a new head coach, it took them getting Kevin Huerter Porter in free agency and Malik Monk in free agency, and trading away someone they drafted in Tyrese Halliburton to acquire Domantas Sabonis. Like those are 4 key moves that just did not happen the quote-unquote cultural way, which Dame was talking about. All this stuff is very, very interesting to me, to be honest with you guys. I guess at the end of the season, we'll see if the winners did it the right way or the wrong way. In my opinion, there really is no right or wrong way, just because of the fact that the league is just so different. There's way more money to be spread around in the NBA. The caps and the luxury tax is just absolutely insane. You can pretty much afford anyone you want as long as you're willing to dip into that luxury tax. You can pretty much afford anyone you want as long as you're willing to dip into the luxury tax, but I digress. What do you guys think? Is there a right way or a wrong way to win a championship? Was Damian Lillard right about this one? And who do you guys want to win the championship this year? Let me know the answer to all those things in the comments below. If you made it this far, I appreciate your support as always. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. Peace.